just loved the sight of blood. He kept on killing when the war was over in the Douglas County mud. And he'd sing, hang me high from a tall, tall tree. All I ever wanted was to live free. Pour a bottle of whiskey over my bones, drive a wooden cross through a stack of stones, and tell all the girls not to cry, because I love them all until the day I die, till the day I die.
What's going on, guys? I'm on my way to the range. I know it's been a while. I got a couple goals in mind, but I ain't sure if I'm gonna get to meet them today. But if anything, at least we'll probably have a good time. I'll try to get some videos and whatnot. I didn't bring my 1,000-yard gun, but I got another gun. It's not sighted in for 1,000 yards yet. I'm hoping we'll get it sighted in maybe today. Got a couple other guns. I just want to make sure they're still sighted in and whatnot, and we'll just have a good time. It's a pretty day today. A little bit of overcast, but I think it'll be pretty clear. I ain't too sure till I get out there. 1,000 yards is it's a long ways away. Sometimes on these overcast days it can kind of be hard to see the target the way it's kind of dark and whatnot. But I'll try to get some raw footage, whatnot, maybe piece it together. I don't know what I'm gonna title the video yet. I guess I'll think of something along the lines, but anyway, enjoy the video. So one of my goals today, I think I already said it, is I want to get my Ar10 sighted out to 1,000 yards. And my 1,000-yard gun, I got it sighted. I got it. It's chambered in 6.5 Creedmoor. And my Ar10, it's chambered in 308. And there's a lot of people that go back and forth on the two cartridges. They're very similar. Biggest thing is 6.5 Creedmoor is it's a much higher. It has a much higher BC. It flies straighter, and the velocity doesn't drop off as quick as the 308 does. But the reason I chose to get the Ar10 chambered in 308, the ammo the cost is really the same. It just depends what kind of bullets you're shooting, and I don't cheap out on the bullets. I tried that, and you can't really cheap out on the bullets too much, because it makes a huge difference. But the main reason I went with 308 in my Ar10 is it's not a bolt gun like my 6.5 Creedmoor, and just for the how I've set the gun up, and its main purpose is that 308 is a 7.62 by 51 it's a NATO cartridge. It's a little bit more prevalent than the 6.5 Creedmoor, at least, and it really was when I first bought it. And the 6.5 Creedmoor is definitely made a. I mean, there's a lot of people running that 6.5 Creedmoor now, but I still think that 308 and something semi-automatic, if you're gonna be, throwing a little bit more rounds down range, you want to go something that's a little bit easier to find, a little bit more prevalent. But you really just gotta pay attention. I mean, 308's always going to be popular, but back in the ammo shortage, since it was so popular, it was kind of hard to find. People were buying it up like that, and then sometimes you get, you know, which 6.5 Creedmoor, it's popular now, so it'll get hard to find. But you know, those Wildcat cartridges, or those cartridges that aren't quite as popular, they stay on the shelves a little bit longer. But the only thing about it is you're not gonna find those cartridges on you know, in anybody's plate carrier, because most people's running at 308, 5.56, your common stuff. Just something to think about if you're thinking about doing that kind of setup. I'll tell you my setup on my Ar10 before I show it to you. It's a Palmetto State Arms. PSA. It's a good brand. It's a good brand. I can't be too hard on it. It really is. It's a good brand. You know, it's not the highest quality in the world. But it's not. It from my experience, they do function. It's not my favorite brand by far. It's not even my favorite middle of the road brand. You know, you got your different brands and stuff. Some's more expensive. Some don't need to be more expensive because they're really not worth it. But the biggest thing, especially in a gun like this, you really, if you're looking to save money, you want to, it's hard, you know, you can buy something middle of the road like Palmetto State Arms, I like Diamondback a lot. I think Diamondback's super high quality, and they're still middle of the road compared to some of the brands, but I think they are a little bit higher than Palmetto State Armory from what I've seen. But you buy something like that, and then you don't want to cheap out on the scope. The scope's something, and you can get some budget-friendly scopes, but you still want to get a quality scope, because the scope that's what makes the gun. Even if you're shooting 100 yards or 1,000 yards, the scope is, you know, of course you don't need a scope at 100 yards, but if you're using one, it's a night and day difference between using something that's clear and something that's not clear. And everybody has their own preferences of what scope they want to use, but I got that Vortex on there, and Vortex is probably, I mean, everybody says it's one of the best thing you can get. A lot of people I know, they all run Vortexes because they're I guess you could say they're not expensive like some of the scopes you could get, but man, the daggum quality of them is just unmatched. Really, it really is a great scope.
The metal that's got the cross on it.
Alright. Where at? With the cross on it?
You see the round metal with the cross?
Yeah.
Okay, just to the left of that or right of that, whichever rock you want to shoot at. I can see it real clear.
Alright, I'm gonna go for the left of it.
All right. you see your hit?
Looks like maybe a little high.
No, the bottom.
Oh, a little low.
Yeah. There's two at the bottom. One's yours, and I really don't know which. I think it's the very bottom one that's yours.
All right. Well, I'm gonna try again then. Ready?
Go ahead. Okay, you see that, don't you?
No.
There's two marks near the bottom. Yours is the highest. That last shot was the highest mark.
I see it there. Yeah. Try one more.
Go ahead. You see it?
Yeah, kind of to the right.
Yep.
All right.
Your elevation's good.
Write that down. Let me try that 300 yard.
All right. Tell me what you're after.
Let me look at the 300. I reckon that rock right there in the middle.
Got it. Barely over top of it.
Top of it again.
Yeah.
I'll take out 30 yard then.
You want to go to 1,000?
Probably 7.
Okay.
700.
Okay.
Move up the next one we got. Let's try the 700 yard. I just had the back up targeted the scope and now I lost it again.
I think you're looking over it.
Yep. Ready?
Ready? I didn't see anything, but now if it goes into that poplar tree, I won't see nothing.
Let me try one more.
I didn't see anything.
You think it's shooting under it?
Possibly. can't tell.
Did that sound closer?
Well, I didn't hear it hit nothing.
Let's see here. I gotta be shooting under it then, don't I?
Hold higher.
Alright.
We heard that.
That
I
was
don't know
dead,
where. I don't know
that
where
was dead
the metal.
center. I seen it.
Okay, I don't know where it hit at, but you got the metal.
I'm gonna try again.
Okay, I think I seen that hit. Did you?
No, I didn't see that one.
Down there about 5 o'clock, about 2 inches out of the bullseye.
So low.
Just a little low. Not much.
I'm gonna shoot one more time for a good measure. I'm out of ammo.
That sucks, don't it?
Yeah.
Well, you're on at 7 now,
Yep.
so you know how to repeat that.
Yep. Yeah, I better write it down before I forget it though.
Absolutely. I wish you could come tomorrow, cause Kevin's a good teacher. He knows all this stuff up one side and down the other.
What's that?
Let's see what we can figure out over here.
I don't know.
Did that help you any, this chart?
What?
Did that help you any?
Yeah, I believe so, yeah.
Okay. Now we know what 700 is. It says 1490. Now this says 26. So 6 be 12. 12 sets of 4 up. 12 times 4 is 48.
Yeah.
4 foot more, I guess is what that is.
4 foot more.
For 1,000.
That bullet's dropping 4 more
Oh,
foot.
they say a throw 8 after 8.
There we go. Ready?
Yep. You're about a foot off the metal to the right. Elevation perfect.
Ready?
You're still about a foot to the right. Elevation perfect. Okay, you're still to the right, but it was a little low. You're off the low right-hand corner.
But that was the right.
It was still to the right, yeah.
Still to the right. Wow. I can't believe I'm shooting that far to the right. Where's my target go here? I don't know why I'm having error. I keep aiming too high. I was low that time.
You's even with the bottom of the metal, but you's about, say, near a foot off to the right. That one was way off.
Really?
Yeah, you had to have pulled that one.
How far off was that one?
That was too far off for it to be nothing but a pull. You pulled that one somehow.
Huh. Ready?
Ready.
Out of ammo.
You're gonna have to come to the left at least a foot from what you're doing on that last shot. But I know you somehow pulled on that last shot. Those other shots, their elevation was perfect. It just kept going right.
Not the light keeps going right like that.
I don't know where you're holding, but you're gonna have to hold more to the left.
I've been like moving it over more and more each time.
Judging by the shot before the last one, which we're not gonna count it, you're at least a foot or more off to the right.
Ready?
Ready? Okay, that one went left, just barely off the edge of the metal. So you overcorrected. I think you hit it. I can't be certain. I heard something.
I'm gonna try one more time.
I didn't see it. Okay, you went just off the upper right-hand corner by about an inch. Now, you know where you just aimed. The metal is 2 feet, and you're a foot off to the right at
Daggone.
3 o'clock.
I swear I'm having ammo problems. Maybe it's shooter error. Ready?
Ready? I didn't see nothing.
Let me fire one more. Out again. I'll throw another one in there. I really thought I'd have had it by now. Don't you? Yeah.
6 inches off to the right at 3 o'clock.
Wow. That is just...
I mean, you're just so close. The elevation is great. It keeps going to the right.
Ready?
Ready? Got it. I don't know exactly where, because it looks like it's got measles. It's been hit so many times. You did hit it. So whatever you done right then is correcting it.
Whew.
How far off did you hold?
That yellow dot on that orange sign out there. Well guys, that's it for the range shooting today, but as you'll see, I was struggling a little bit with that 308, that Ar10, and you know, every time you go to the range you learn something new, and it wasn't that bad. That's about on par. Once you get your gun sighted in, you know, at 1,000 or whatever, you know, sometimes it takes a couple shots. But once you get it sighted in, that's it, you know. My biggest thing was I wasn't used to how much it was dropping. It was dropping a ton. I'm used to that 6.5 Creedmoor, and that 6.5 Creedmoor don't drop nowhere near what that 308 does. It really was. It's a big difference. There's a lot of people that go on the 6.5 and 308 debate, but that 308 is just, and it could be, I can't really, it's hard to compare them out of two different platforms. You know, one's a bolt gun with a 22-inch barrel on my 6.5 Creedmoor, and it don't seem to drop nowhere near as much as the 308 does out of that 18-inch barrel. Now, it might be that 18-inch barrel, it might be, you know, well, I'm sure that 18-inch barrel does have some play to it, but it does seem to be, once it hit that, really that 500-yard mark, after 500 yards, it just kept dropping and dropping. But when you're shooting as far out as 1,000 yards, which, I mean, you know, it's all relative. 1,000 yards to some people is, some people have never even thought about shooting 1,000 yards, and other people are out here shooting, you know, 1,500 and 2,000 yards and stuff like that. You know, there's very few people that are doing, I mean, they're out there, but it definitely takes a lot of, you know, because your bullet just keeps on dropping and dropping and dropping, and once it loses its velocity, it just, I mean, it drops like a rock, you know. But I mean, what we're looking at, I think what we figured up was that from 500 to 700 yards, it's only a 200-yard difference. That bullet's dropping 4 foot from 500 to 700 yards. And at like a 200-yard zero, the 308's dropping 50 inches at I think it was 500 yards. 50 in, yeah, I think it was at a 200 yard zero dropping, which I have that gun zeroed in at 300 yards, but you see what I'm saying? It's dropping 50 inches. That's what, over 2 foot? No, way over 2 foot. It's over 4 foot, just at 500 yards, and then another 4 foot. So once you get to 500 yards, it's already dropped 4 foot, and then go out 200 more yards, and it's dropping another 4 foot. And you can imagine at that rate, at 1,000 yards, how much that bullet is dropping, and that's what makes it so hard. It is fun though. I want you to, when you're watching the video, I do want you to listen for something though. I know you can't see the target, you know, just recording, but you'll be able to hear how long it takes that bullet to get to that target, you know, and then you hear that ting, and even at 700 yards, it's a big difference. You know, I mean, even at 700 yards, it's taking a long time for that bullet to get there, you know, and at 1,000 yards, it's like, bang, you know, it takes, you know, 1,001, 1,002, 1,003, bang, it's hitting the steel. It just takes a long time, and when you're shooting that far out, the minorest, you know, the very little things are at 1,000 yards, you know, one little thing could, you know, an inch at 100 yards, you know, it'll be a couple feet at 1,000, maybe not quite that much. It'll be, you know, but what I'm saying is these like a minute change can equal, you know, 3 or 4 foot off at 1,000 yards, you know, or it may be even more. I've seen, you know, 6-10 foot off, you know, just from how you hold the gun, how you pull the trigger. You know, you might pull it one way or the other, and at 100 yards, if you've got a habit of pulling the gun off to the right when you pull the trigger, you know, say it might not even show up at 100 yards, but by the time you get out to 1,000 yards, it's really going to show, and that's what makes it so hard shooting out that far. If you've never done it, you can never really truly understand how hard it was. I know when I first started shooting, the first like long distance goal was 300 yards, and you know, that was just, I don't know, it tickles me to death to ring the steel at 300 yards just as much as it does 1,000 yards, but the 1,000 yards is just that much more challenging. But when I first started out, that 300 yards was, you know, it really took a lot of practice and time, because even at 300 yards, just a little bit of, you know, pulling off, and then I think we went on out to like 600 yards, and we did that for a little while, and that was, you know, that was the new long range for me, and then you see it even more, and then we finally went out to 1,000, and got to ring some steel at 1,000, and it just, you learn a lot as you do it, but it takes doing it to really appreciate how hard it is to ring steel at 1,000. Because you gotta be a good shot, and you gotta have the proper equipment too, you know, and it's, a lot of times it's not cheap, you know. I think on that gun there, a relatively I mean, it's an affordable scope. It's a good scope, but I think the scope was like $600 on that AR10, and $600 on that AR10. The gun didn't cost, but you know, $850, something like that, somewhere around there. Might have been a little bit more because I bought it a long time ago, and I think the AR10s were a little bit more expensive then than they are now. But it's just, you know, you took $800, an $800 gun, and you put a $600 scope, and then you've got $1,400 in a gun. You ain't bought the bipod. That's another $100. Your ammo, you know, you gotta have good ammo. You cannot cheap out on the ammo. It can't be done. That's another thing you gotta watch out for, especially, you know, if you're shooting 100 yards at, well, I've seen a difference. I've seen ammo make a difference at 100 yards. I mean, we're talking some pretty stray, you know. It's different with every box. Sometimes you'll have one stray bullet, it'll throw your whole thing off. You'll shoot, you know, that one bullet, and you'll think, "Dang, how did I get that far off? You know, did I pull it?" Sometimes you pull it. Sometimes it's just that bullet. You know, but you get into some of the cheaper ammo, and you know, you're talking at 100 yards, you're having a 4-inch grouping. If you can't even try to shoot that at 1,000 yards. At 1,000 yards, that's like, you know, you might be 6 foot off by the time you get to 1,000 yards. Every bullet be 6, you know, in a 6 foot different, in 6 foot in a different direction. So you definitely got to invest in some ammo to get the job done for what you're doing. That match grade ammo is good for shooting long range, but if you're not just shooting if you're not just ringing steel, then you need to have a bullet for, you know, doing whatever you're doing. You know, if you're hunting, you need a hunting bullet, and they make some crosses between the match grade bullets, which are just meant for target shooting, and then they make your match hunting bullets, which are supposed to be extremely accurate, but you can also use them for hunting. But there's, you know, you got to watch out for any kind of weight difference. It'll just completely throw you off, even shooting, you know, a couple 100 yards, and then you get on out to 1,000, and then you're really far off. And it takes a lot. It's not cheap. It's not a cheap thing to get into, but it's something you have to think about, you know, when you're shooting. Even if you're not really serious into it, you can't cheap out on the bullets. Some bullets are good bullets, and the gun don't like them. You know, it can be the grainage that you're shooting at, and then you have the twist rate of your barrel, and it just might not be that grainage that you're shooting might not line up well with that twist rate on that barrel. It can get really complicated if you really get into it. Anyways, I reckon that's about it. I don't want to talk your ear off too much, no more than I probably already have, but it's all good information to know. Well, guys, that's it for this video. Like, subscribe, keep praying for the best, preparing for the worst, and I'll see y'all in the next video, hopefully.